Coming up on the South Florida High School Football Show, we'll go exploring with Columbus High School, ready to chase a district title in Broward. Look out for the explosive Plantation Colonels. Larry Bluestein will break down the best running backs, and we'll preview two big showdowns. St. Thomas is hosting Miramar, plus Carroll City and Northwestern Square Off. All of that and much more on the South Florida High School Football Show. Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the South Florida High School Football Show. Joe Zagacki alongside Don Bailey Jr. as we come to you from BurgerFi here in Weston on Weston Road. Are you hungry, Mr. Bailey?
I'm starving, Joe. I'm here really to eat and then do the show.
You want those veggie burgers? I want the cheeseburgers, but I'm hungry for some high school football.
Yes, you are.
Shall we get started? We had some great games this weekend. Let's take a look at some of the top teams appearing in Dade and Broward County. We'll go exploring first with Columbus High School in Miami-Dade County. Chris Merritt, in his 13th year, always puts out a terrific product.
He really does, Joe, and the consistency that he puts out is really what is the story to me. Every single year you can count on a disciplined team, you can count on wins, you can count on a team that does not quit, gives you a full 4 quarters of football every time that they line up.
Got a nice quarterback in Tucker Byrne and a wide receiver, Sasha Kelsey. Those two made a nice combination in Miami-Dade County, and they've got a nice offense.
They certainly do. They can score from any spot on the field. The combination of the quarterback and the receiver, those guys have been working together. You can tell that they have spent some summertime together working on their routes and making sure that every pass that's delivered is caught.
Columbus has a young defense, but you know Chris Merritt's going to bring that defense together.
You know, the key is to get them through the early stages of the season. Let them grow together, let them understand the calls, let them understand the techniques. Then about the halfway point, I imagine that this group is going to gel just at the right time for the playoffs.
Of course, the schedule coming up for them, not easy. They're going to take on Coral Gables, then North Miami, and Miami Beach. Let's go up to Broward County. Steve Davis, again, has put together a solid squad. Plantation. Perhaps they can threaten St. Thomas. Played them a couple of times last year, but they can really score.
They can, and they're going to need to, because eventually that's going to come down to St. Thomas and them playing in a ball game, and they're going to need points galore. The key, of course, is not only for the big play to make sure you don't turn the football over if you're them.
Chris Lamons is a two-way player, can play defensive back, but also quarterback, one of the great players in the state.
I love the fact that he's so athletic, and when you mention about a player that can go on both sides of the football, that lets you know what type of athlete he is. He is a threat with his arm, but even more so a threat when he pulls it down and runs it.
Plantation's non-district opponents, Dillard, Miramar, but they've got November 1st circle. That's when they take on St. Thomas.
Well, St. Thomas, what is the championship? And a lot of people feel in Broward County, you've got to deal with St. Thomas at some point.
All right, let's stay in Broward County. American Heritage. Is there anybody this team doesn't play? Mike Rump, former University of Miami Hurricane, is the head coach there. And he's going to make that team battle-tested because they played a great schedule.
Have football will travel. They're going all over the state. They're going all over the country. They're doing whatever they can. And, you know, I really agree with this because when you are able to come back home and you get on your schedule, there's really not anything that should intimidate you as far as an opponent goes. You've had to travel. You've had to leave the state. You've had to leave your own stadium. And then you're able to come back and you've witnessed all this. You're far more experienced for big games after seeing this. And Mike Rump, former corner for the University of Miami, is doing a fantastic job up there.
Of course, they are led by one of the great running backs in both counties, Sony Michel. Terrific player.
He really is, Joe. And when you have that young man, anything is possible for a season. I mean, everybody in the country was recruiting him. He's a guy that is big and powerful and strong. There's no telling how many yards can he get in a ball game. Is he a combination of what Frank Gore used to look like, or has he got a little bit of Duke Johnson in him? He's a little bit of everything, but I can tell you this, he is coveted by everybody in the country.
Torrance Gibson is their quarterback, very good athlete, can run, can throw, very elusive.
Well, when you have that combination of a very, very strong running game, and then you have a quarterback that has the run threat as well, you're making the defense account for 11 people on that side of the football every single play, and that stresses the opponent tremendously.
American Heritage has 33 state titles at that high school. They need one in football. That's what they are aiming for this year. All right, I'll look at three of the really good teams in Dade and Broward County. Some great high school football this past weekend. With all the highlights, here is Joe Rose.
Thanks, Joe and Don. Well, this week, high school football taking place on Wednesday and Thursday because of the Jewish holiday. Here we go. A good one in Broward County. University School facing off with Cypress Bay, who welcomes back head coach Mark Guandolo from suspension. And Guandolo watching his team struggle, already down 7-0. Jordan Scarlett busts loose down the sideline and just outraces everyone to the end zone. 64-yard touchdown run. He had 3 on the night to go with 188 yards. Then, third quarter, up 27. Sean White rolls right and finds his big wide out. Chris Taylor for the leaping grab in the back of the end zone. University School rolls 37-7. High school football, Dade County, Jackson and Norland. Jackson quarterback Quentin Flowers is one of the best in South Florida, torching Norland with his arm and his feet. First stepping up and throwing to Terrence Rutherford for a touchdown. Then Flowers busts loose on the quarterback keeper, makes a couple of moves, and he's gone. 55 yards for the score. Jackson rolls 26-7, the final.
The South Florida High School Football Show is brought to you by the U.S. Army, Tico People's Gas, The Chamber, Metro PCS, South Florida Chevy Dealers, Broward Health, BurgerFi in Weston, Vitamin Shop, and 560 QAM.
A few years ago, I decided to push myself further. College, graduate school, degrees in aeronautics and engineering. And I learned that being my best means getting the best from everyone around me. Becoming an Army officer taught me to set high objectives and quickly rise to meet them. Kinda like a rocket.
An Army officer learns to reach new heights and inspires others to do the same. Can you? Find out at goarmy.com/officer.
He's a 20 years straight, get to work on time. He's a loved one woman for all his life. Everybody knows he ain't just tough, he's strong.
The all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
The recruiting segment is brought to you by Metro PCS, wireless for all.
Welcome back to the South Florida High School Football Show. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr. A special time today, our 11:30 kickoff. Thank you so much for your company. We're here at BurgerFi in Weston. What a place this is. Great food. I might get myself a chicken apple dog.
You should, Joe, and don't forget the concrete, right?
Oh, chocolate marshmallow is what I'm going to line up after the show.
They'll custom make it for you.
Might get a Texas-style chili cheeseburger as well. All right, let's move into our recruiting segment with Larry Bluestein. This week, we're going to talk about a position that just dominates Dade and Broward County when you discuss recruiting, and that is running backs.
Everybody in the country would like to come down to South Florida and cherry pick that position. Fortunately for South Florida and all the teams that recruited, the whole state's loaded with running backs. But when you look at this year, it's a bumper crop. I don't know that it has ever been as good as this.
It's so good that one school has 2.
That's right. And both of those, it's a coin toss to say which guy would you take over the other one. Outstanding year for that position in South Florida.
Okay, time to call in Larry Bluestein, our recruiting expert, on our LG Optimus F3. All right, we're going to dial him up here. Old Blue, let's hear about these running backs.
Well, Joe and Don, welcome this week, and I'll tell you what, if you want to talk about a position that perhaps is as deep as it's ever been in South Florida, we start with running backs. We'll start in Dade County, and I'll tell you right off the bat, you look at a guy like Joseph Yerby. I've had an opportunity to watch Joe Yerby since he was a little kid playing at Gwen Cherry Park. He's done some of the great things. The Miami Central back, he even moved to, last year, if you remember in the Booker T game, he moved to Wildcat quarterback. This kid is explosive. He runs extremely well. He's going to the University of Miami, which is a good thing. Speaking about early commitments, what about the University of Florida? They came down to South Florida and got a lot of kids. One of them was Dalvin Cook. Name sounds familiar. He's the teammate of Joseph Yerby at Central, and he's equally as good. Not only can he break away, but when he does, no one's going to catch him. The third back in Dade County, and this one is a pretty decent one, his name is Frank Labate. A lot of people hadn't heard of him. He was at Edison last year. He's at Hialeah Champagnat. The thing that makes him valuable is he can line up. He's going to the University of Cincinnati. He can line up in the backfield, but he could also move out into the slot, which is very valuable. That's what they saw. The coaches, Tommy Tuberville, saw about him at Cincinnati. He's a versatile guy who could run. He could get kickoff returns for you. He could do a lot. Let's start in Broward County. The #1 player in the state, Sony Michel. I'll tell you what, we've been watching him since the 8th grade. I have never seen somebody who has done so much in a 4.5 to 5 year period before. Physical, quick, on his way to University of Georgia. He turns the game around, and he's learned ever since he got hurt 2 years ago to change his running style to the point where he's not having to do everything. Also in Broward County, you have Brandon Powell. Came out of nowhere. Deerfield Beach 2 years ago. This is a kid that really burst onto the scene. He's going to the University of Miami. He has an opportunity, just like Frank Labate does, to play a slot, also to play a wide receiver spot. This is a kid who could do it all, but when he has his hands on the ball as a running back, you had better watch out. And rounding it out is one of the big backs. A kid who moved in from Arkansas 2 years ago, came to St. Thomas Aquinas, made a huge impact, Madre London. It gives you an opportunity to watch this guy because he's a classic Big Ten type of back, somebody who could get the yardage and break away from you. Guys, I told you, quarterbacks are deep, wide receivers are deep, but running backs this year in South Florida, I've never seen anything like it.
Here's how you can help Larry Bluestein in his fight against kidney disease. You can send your donation or support to Our Boy Blue Foundation, P.O. Box 3181, Hollandale 33009. In addition, if anyone would test as a living organ donor for Larry or anyone else, please contact Jackson Memorial Hospital at 305-355-5194.
The South Florida Chevy dealers will be recognizing outstanding educators and handing out $4,000 in donations. Help us by nominating a high school teacher for the 2013 South Florida Chevy Dealers High School Teacher of the Year Award. Chevy will award a crystal trophy to one teacher in each county, plus each teacher's school wins a $2,000 general donation. Visit SouthFloridaHighSchoolFootball.com to learn how to nominate a teacher for consideration. We're accepting nominations until January 17th. The winners will be announced February 5th.
Welcome to the Chamber Sports Performance Minute. Brian is going to walk us through today's segment.
Here we are at the Chamber today talking about our single leg to double leg power progression. We're on the Kaiser runner, starting off with a march. Keep one leg stable as the other one's moving with your butt down. After the march, we're going to go into a double leg push. Okay? As you can notice, he's sticking his landing after every push. After the double leg push, we're going to go into jumps. Explode out, activate your glutes. He's going into a continuous jump now. Now, after a continuous jump, we're going to go into the Kaiser runner. Keeping your butt down, go as fast as you can, reaching full range of motion. With the Kaiser runner, it lets us quantify the effort level of the athlete, along with our resistance, our peak power percentage, and our rep count. As you can see here, his peak power percentage is 100% at 3950, increasing as he's going.
For more information or to contact us, visit chamberfitness.com.
The South Florida High School Football Show is also on Facebook at sfhsfs. And you can follow us on Twitter at HSFBall and Instagram at sfhsfs. You'll receive weekly updates from our insiders, news, announcements, and game day scoring updates from all over South Florida, plus deals and offers from our partners.
Outdoor projects large or small. Avoiding buried utility lines is more than food for thought.
What happened?
Know what's below. You or your contractor should always call 811 before you dig. Utilities will mark your lines for free. Brought to you by Tico People's Gas.
Broward Health is good at keeping muscles and joints in motion and out of pain. So good, they treat some of the nation's top athletes. So good, they've been selected to perform joint replacements on retired players. And so good, they handle more ortho cases and perform more joint replacements than anyone else in Broward. So if you're a senior with joint pain or an injured athlete of any age, trust the team Ryan Tannehill trusts.
Broward Health, powerful medicine.
The Coaches segment is brought to you by BurgerFi and Weston, all natural.
Welcome back to the South Florida High School Football Show as we continue from BurgerFi here in Weston. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr. By the way, it's not a coincidence that we have an orange drink and a green drink this week.
That's right, sure isn't.
All right, so we move on. Every week we like to talk with one of the premier coaches in Dade and Broward. This week we're going to talk with Rocco Casulo from St. Thomas High School, who has done a tremendous job, won the state championship last year.
He really has, Joe, and when you think about having to fill in after Coach Smith and then having the success that he's had, those are the biggest shoes to fill in South Florida, and Rocco's doing a nice job with it.
Rocco going for back-to-back state championships is with our Chris Chambers.
Thanks, guys. We're here with Coach Casulo of St. Thomas Aquinas in his third season, second year, winning the state championship. How does that feel, Coach?
It feels great. I mean, to watch what those kids put through the whole, 10 months out of the year, all the hard work and the coaching staff, it's quite a great feeling to get that state championship win, but this is a new year.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head there. 10 months out the year. So they're a couple months off. Obviously, you guys have a really good off-season program. Can you talk a little bit about your off-season program?
Yeah, absolutely. After signing day, we start that Monday. We go 12 weeks, 2 days after school, 2 days at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it's Rob Biasati does a great job with our kids. And then we get into spring football, 2 weeks off for finals, then crank it back up in the summer. So it's all year round now.
A team like you guys rebuild every single year. You have great players who leave. You got a good defensive end in Boza who went to Ohio State, played Big Ten. Also, you have a first-year starting quarterback. Is there any new players that we should look for this season?
Well, yeah, we got a very young defense. A lot of guys are going to have to step up. In the secondary, Lance DeVoe and Tyson Cicero. Corner, Natron Barnes, James Oliphant, Kamal Hardy. We got a lot of new faces. If we can control the line of scrimmage up front with the defensive ends and the interior guys, I think that'll help the guys out in the back. And on offense, we're very young at receiver. Jawan Harris, Devontae Pete, Deltron Sands. So, those guys got to step up.
Yeah, I got a chance to watch you guys work out, warm up a little bit. I did see some nice size on the receivers. I expect a couple of fade passes throughout the season. Let's talk about the development of those receivers and how we're going to get those guys to make big plays for you.
I think there's a good relationship with Wade Freebeck, our quarterback, and the receivers, Corey Holmes and Devontae and Jawan, and our tight end, Sean Bender. So, we just got to take what the defense gives us, and Wade does a good job at executing, and, we'll go from there.
Great. I can imagine the expectations are extremely high. You guys had a great season last year. Is there anything you think you guys should improve upon?
Well, like I said to the guys last year, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Our captains did a great job last year keeping the team together. John O'Corn, Freddie Coppett, Joey Bosa, but that's what the seniors, they learn from those guys. And, we don't have a crystal ball. You just got to play your hearts out every game and every down. And, hopefully we get into December.
Coach Casulo, third season, going for his second state championship. Back to you guys.
Don't forget to check out SouthFloridaHighSchoolFootball.com, where you'll get recruiting overviews powered by Larry Bluestein, a review of the top 20. We'll preview the top games in Dade and Broward County. We'll catch you up on Shaquille Jackson's blog and game recaps. You can nominate candidates for the Player of the Year and for the High School Teacher of the Year. Catch any of this season's TV shows you may have missed, plus a whole bunch more.
Tico Peoples Gas is awarding the Player of the Year award to one player in Miami-Dade and one player in Broward. To nominate a player, visit SouthFloridaHighSchoolFootball.com. Look for the Tico Vote Here icon. Nominations are open until November 30th. The players take home a beautiful crystal trophy, and the schools that vote the most receive a $500 donation. The winners will be announced during our National Signing Day TV show on February 5th.
We continue now with our Broward Health Injury Report, and joining us is Dr. Frank Walters, and one of the hot topics all around the country is concussions. And here at Broward Health, Doctor, you have a program for concussions.
Yes, we collaborate with the Broward County Public Schools and Nova Southeastern University to provide baseline concussion management testing with the IMPACT program. That program is what we use in the event that an athlete is injured. We take the baseline test, compare it to the post-injury test, and then figure out where they are in terms of returning to play.
Why has this research in a program like this become so important?
It's critically important because concussions can have long-term issues. We deal with it immediately, but then we bring the athlete back in a graded manner, and we want to make sure that when they return to play that there are no lingering problems.
And certainly there has to be a little bit of time before they return to play.
Absolutely, and we want to make sure that they're functioning both cognitively as well as physically, and that activity doesn't cause a return of the symptoms. So it's important to pay attention to their normal activity both before, during, and after the injury.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Dr. Frank Walters joining us here at Broward Health.
Hi, I'm Laura Dermidis with this week's U.S. Army All-American Bowl nominees. First up, as if Dalvin Cook wasn't enough for Miami Central fans to cheer about, we have Joseph Yerby. At 5'9" and just shy of 200 pounds, Yerby's quick feet and ability to change direction gives Central a great 1-2 punch with Cook. If both backs play anything like they did last year, Central may find its way back to the #1 spot in the nation. Yerby got looks from schools all around the nation, but recently gave his verbal to Miami. Next is American Heritage Sony Michel. He is considered to be one of Florida's best prospects, and at 5'11", 205 pounds, he plans on holding his own for the Patriots in his senior year. On top of his explosive playmaking abilities in the backfield, Michel also excels at returning punts. He is verbally committed to the University of Georgia, looking to join the already loaded Bulldog backfield. Last up for this week is Erman Lane out of Homestead. Lane is no doubt a top 5 wide receiver coming out of high school. Schools all over the nation have fallen in love with his huge frame. He's 6'3", 195 pounds. Pair that with his ability to get open with ease, and he's sure to be a threat. Lane made quite the splash on his 7-on-7 team, South Florida Express, at the IMG 7-on-7, going 4-0, including a 62-7 win over Core 6 Red. Erman committed to Florida in August.
At Metro PCS, we believe in the power of the period. It keeps you from spending too much on wireless.
Unlimited data, talk, and text. $40, period. Everything you want. Even the taxes and fees are rolled right in. $40, period. On a nationwide 4G network, no annual contract, $40, period. That's period power. Everything you want, $40, period. Only at Metro PCS.
He's a 20 years straight, get to work on time. He's loved one woman for all his life. Everybody knows he ain't just tough, he's strong.
The all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
Welcome back to the South Florida High School Football Show. Joe Zagacki with Don Bailey Jr. from BurgerFi in Weston. And this is a great location, Don Bailey Jr., the heart of Weston. And, you know, you have to have a place like this for high school football. So after the games, you come over here. Or before the games, you come over here.
Or during the games, leave at halftime, come over here. This is a great location. The food's outstanding, and they do a perfect job.
We are moments away from me devouring a cheeseburger and from Don Bailey murdering a veggie burger.
Correct. 2 of them, Joe. Not 1, but 2.
All right, before we do that, we have some business to take care of. Our broadcast game coming up this week is St. Thomas and Miramar at St. Thomas on WQAM. It's going to be a heck of a game. Miramar and St. Thomas, they have become rivals. St. Thomas, they've got the great defense, especially the defensive line.
That they do, Joe. They can put pressure on the quarterback, but Miramar, we know, is all about the offense, all about the points. So it's going to be your classic Miramar offense against your St. Thomas defense.
You have Nicky Bosa leading the charge for St. Thomas on defense, leading that defensive charge, which will put some pressure on that Miramar offense.
Absolutely will. Miramar's going to have to do a good job at the line of scrimmage because Bosa is a threat. He can get enough pressure. He's big enough, strong enough, one of the leading prospects in all of the country.
Jay Conley does a great job with the St. Thomas offensive line up there. Their offensive line is led by Nick Linder.
Nick going to the U just like his brother. A real strong position, plays at center extremely well, makes all the calls. Tough guy. I can't wait to see him in the green and orange.
All right, that's our broadcast game. Let's go into Miami-Dade County. This is an old-time rival. This is Carroll City and Northwestern. When these two teams get together, doesn't matter what the record is, they play for a lot of pride.
This is for bragging rights. This is for pride. This is the old school matchup. You got Stephen Fielder, who's the coach at Northwestern, and Aubrey Hill in his first year at Carroll City. I'm looking forward to it. You can imagine all the talent on both sides of the football. And you bring up the point, Joe. It doesn't matter the record. It matters that ball game, who wins and who loses.
Northwestern had a tough time with St. Thomas, but Northwestern still believes that they have a solid defense.
Oh, they do, Joe, and they're going to make a living on that defense. They've got enough skilled players on offense to get their points, but believe me, their strong point is on the defensive side of the football.
Our third game to take a look at for next weekend, this is an interesting one. It's a battle from the north, a battle from the south. Norland going down south to play Homestead. Homestead, in a word, is explosive.
That they are. Norland off to a slow start now. New Orleans used to winning championships and having undefeated seasons. They're starting a little slow this year. They're taking on Homestead, which, as you mentioned, is one of the most explosive teams, not only in South Florida, but also in the state.
Homestead is led by Ermon Lane. They can score from anywhere on offense and, of course, have great special teams with Ermon Lane. So Norland's going to have to contain him.
Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge for Norland. Norland needs this win. They're a team that's got to gain some confidence. And if they can take care of Homestead, it'll be a feather in their hat.
Okay, so some great high school football next weekend. Be sure to check it all out. Stop by and see us here at BurgerFi in Weston. I'm ready for an apple chicken dog. What about you?
I'm going still with the veggie burger, Joe. I'm going to let you have that hot dog.
Join us next week at our regular time, 12 noon, right here on NBC6. For Don Bailey Jr., I'm Joe Zagacki. We'll see you next Sunday here on the South Florida High School Football Show.
The South Florida High School Football Show has been brought to you by the U.S. Army, Tico People's Gas, The Chamber, Metro PCS, South Florida Chevy Dealers, Broward Health, BurgerFi in Weston, Vitamin Shop, and 560 QAM.
Let this one way through. Don't let this one go. You play hard for the man next to you. Be ready to die for it tonight. For that uniform. It all here, fellas. Be ready to die for it tonight. We leave it all here. Do you understand? Yeah. Let's go, Chad. Let's go, Chad. Let's go. Let's go. 5 from the bottom of the map. Got the 50-round clip on the bottom of the strap. Hey! Let's go, man. Whole team scrapping. I ain't talking to you. Yeah. Hey, no saying nobody died, man. Y'all better get right, man. Y'all better get right. Y'all give it to me one more time, Chad. 5 from the bottom of the map. Got the 50-round clip on the bottom of the scrap. Hey! Come on, man. Let's go. Whole team scrapping. I ain't talking to you. Come on, man. Let's go. Tornadoes on me. Everybody ready.